Yeah, Arizona native, born and raised, just raising a family. I've been teaching for about 30 years, close to it. American history, mostly American government and economics lately, over the past 12 years. Of course, got my bachelor's degree in education and major in political science. Went back, got a master's degree in education because that's what you're supposed to do. But I got another master's in political science, and that's been a big focus for me over the past 30 plus years. Not so much the politics, but the academic, more scholarly stuff. My focus being American history, constitutional theory, political philosophy, stuff like that, abstract, big concepts. Joined the military about 2005. I was a late joiner. I had to get an age waiver, and there was a lot going on at that time, of course. And I ended up being away from home for a couple of years total. I was able to go in as an officer since I had a degree. And I did military intelligence in the Army Reserve for about 9 years, and that was great. But I decided to get out because it was quite consuming. Yeah, just raising a family in Arizona and kind of a regular guy. I've never been really political in the sort of following every election, day to day, partisan, I call it retail politics, the political grind. Not really my thing, but always been a little contrarian, strong independent streak, independent thinker. I did join a party originally when I registered to vote because I didn't know any better, but found out pretty quickly that wasn't for me, you know. So I have this sort of, I want to say, detached view of everyday politics. I'm more conceptual, more from that academic, scholarly sort of background, looking at things. I always had a fairly nonpartisan take on things. Any sort of tribalism, groups, everyone's thinking the same. I get nervous. I don't like that too much. It's like we all shouldn't be agreeing on everything all the time. Probably one of the big things that kind of got me, I guess, maybe more interested in regular politics was I don't know if it was 94, 95, maybe 96, probably 96 presidential election. And there's a guy called Steve Forbes running in the Republican primaries. And this is the sort of mid 90s. And you have Clinton and you have the Republican Congress, and it's very toxic, very dysfunctional. It's a lot of mudslinging, stuff like that, stuff that I don't like, and always turned me off from politics. But here's a guy, Steve Forbes. I think he's a businessman, but he's kind of goofy, kind of nerdy, not a polished politician, not the slick used car salesman. He seems sincere, seems honest, but more importantly, he's positive, he's optimistic. He talks about hope, growth, and opportunity, I think was his mantra. And just in a sea of sort of toxic politics, that was kind of refreshing. And I kind of followed him, and probably the first political guy that I kind of got into a little bit. Of course, he died a horrible death because he wasn't really playing the game. And interestingly enough, I think he ran again 4 years later for something, and he had changed 100%, which was a pretty sad statement. I guess being in the system for a while, he ended up just like every other politician, a little sleazy. That was kind of disappointing. Anyways, jump ahead to a huge epiphany, 2016. You have Hillary, you have Trump, two highly disliked candidates. These are our choices. Wonderful. And you also have a guy named Gary Johnson running. And he's interesting. He kind of reminded me of the Steve Forbes before, kind of not as slick and polished. Seems sincere, seems honest, and not doing all the mudslinging and stuff like that, right? He seems positive. He seems optimistic. He starts doing pretty well. As a matter of fact, he's starting to pull really high with military, with independents, even starting to draw some votes probably from the two parties. Well, they take notice. They can't have that, right? They don't want a repeat of Ross Perot. So this is where the attack dogs are unleashed. The media goes crazy on Gary Johnson. And I just kind of saw what happened when the machine decided they've had enough and weren't going to allow a third party to gain any sort of traction. He declined. He kind of bombed because of all the pressures and the duopoly. I think he still ended up with like 5% of the vote, which is maybe the highest since Ross Perot. He still ended up okay for a third party. But that was interesting. I saw what happened there with that. Plus, you had the Bernie Sanders thing with Hillary kind of getting coronated. And 2016 just showed opened my eyes a lot. I mean, I had already been kind of on this path, but it just sort of validated a lot of things I was thinking and probably put the gears in motion for maybe what would become the radical independent. Yeah, so it's not an amazing story. This was 2021, kind of a COVID summer. There's like a resurgence, and I'm sitting around not doing a whole lot in front of the computer a lot, and I decide, well, let's just experiment, let's have some fun, and give it a go. Make a Facebook page. Not really sure where I'm going with it. It's more of an intellectual outlet, something to do, think about. No real direction. Talk about the Constitution a little bit, citizenship, maybe the media. Just kind of no real direction, I guess. But within the first 4 weeks, 6 weeks, maybe it just sort of morphed organically, naturally into pretty much what it is today: anti-duopoly, pro-independent voter, pro-independent thinking, some of the other things related to that, but election reforms, free, fair, and competitive elections, all that. And so I did. I just sort of stumbled into it, and it was pretty much accidental. I wasn't like, oh, I got all these ideas, I got to get them out, I'm going to change the world. It just sort of happened. I would have been happy with just a few hundred people, who thought like me, and we could just talk shop and, discuss some things. But it kind of grew. It's 5 years this month. July 2026 is our 5 year anniversary, basically. The growth was kind of surprising. I feel people are ready to hear the message. People are pretty receptive. They may not be able to articulate. I mean, they have a sense things are wrong and our system's broken, but they may not see a way to get from here to there. And so that's where I come in. People seem pretty receptive overall, except the hardcore partisans, of course. They're in their little clans and happy with the team sport game. But for a lot of regular people, they're like, yeah, we need to change things. And the growth has been good. I'm up to 17,000 follows in 5 years, slow and steady growth. Now, with Facebook, unfortunately, growth is also sort of a direct formula of how much you want to pay. And I didn't pay much, right? But I did pay a little bit, especially early on. $15 here, $20 there, 2 or 3 times a year, something like that. There's no other way to get the word out, really. Everyone else is paying for views, and you get left behind. Anyways, I did pay a little bit here and there for the advertising, boosting posts and stuff like that. But once I got above 10,000, the growth seemed a little more steady and decent organically on its own. But I suck at social media. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm surprised I've been able to do what I've done. This is not my strength, and I'm just happy I've been able to learn enough to kind of do what I've done so far. Really. Well, just about to hit 17,000 follows on our 5 year anniversary, which is nice. I just started a couple months ago a new Radical Independent YouTube page, big event in the Radical Independent world. Not a lot going on with that. I know YouTube's a really hard space, and I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not a podcaster, so it is what it is. What happened was I started getting people started reaching out and wanting to talk. And so for the first 4 years of the Radical Independent, I was anonymous. I never used my name. I never used first person. I didn't talk about me or anything like that. And that's kind of how it was. But about 8, 10 months ago, with people contacting me, I kind of had to step out from behind the curtain and become the face, the person behind the Radical Independent, and doing some talks, interviewing other people, people interviewing me, stuff like that. So now I'm out. But yeah, the YouTube page is mainly just a place to put those types of videos. I know that's not going to grow tremendously. Maybe Instagram's going to be my next thing. Maybe, probably not. I don't think this is the right type of content for Instagram. But yeah, good growth. It's been a huge money loser for me because paying for advertising and everything else and my time. Obviously, I haven't made any money on this. This is not a money making thing. It's not why I got into it, number one. But I do have some merch. I ordered some caps and some shirts, and I have a go. What is it? A buy me a coffee thing, which could help. I don't expect to make any money off this ever, but you know, it's a pretty cheap hobby, all things considered. But it would be nice to maybe at least get closer to breaking even at some point. Maybe it can pay for itself down the road. Who knows? But yeah, we'll just keep plugging along, doing our thing, spreading the word, spreading the message, growing the movement, hopefully. I appreciate everybody who's come and liked and commented and followed. It's amazing. I'm humbled by it. I mean, I'm not a huge page or anything, but I appreciate it a lot, and hopefully we'll just keep growing.